I just got the legendary Mafex Gambit figure, and I know you can look at reviews from 2 years ago from some cool guys like Foosh, Unparalleled Universe, and The Amazing, but I only recently got into collecting action figures in May, let alone reviewing them. But this is one of the figures I wanted once I started collecting. Unfortunately, since I was pretty late in the game, Mafex Gambit was out of stock everywhere. I could only find this guy heavily overpriced on eBay, and I definitely didn't want to pay too much for it, no matter how great it is. Luckily though, about a month ago I saw it in stock at Big Bad Toy Store somehow, and immediately got it. So here we are now, reviewing it because why the hell not? Alright, to start off, Gambit can look this far up and this far down, which I think is pretty good. You can also look both sides very easily, but sometimes the neck won't match with the head on where it should be. But thanks to this articulated neck, you get some really good tilt on the head. His arms are able to reach a little higher than the T-pose, and you can fully rotate around the shoulders. Another thing with the shoulder joint is that you can drop it a little bit, which will help you get some better articulation. Gambit gets an awesome deep double joint on the elbows, as well as some swivel and hinge for the wrist. A dumbbell joint in the torso and ball joint at the waist allows you to move very far both backwards and forwards. You can also twist at the waist a little bit, but it is a little tight. You get a drop down joint on the hip, with legs that can go up this far forward and not too far back. Double jointed knees that don't go all too far, but it's still pretty good. Your thighs can twist and you get a nice ball joint for full movement on the foot, and of course you get some toe articulation. Now with his jacket on, the head won't be able to go as far back. As you can see, the jacket kinda makes it snap back into place. However, you can move the collar out of the way if you want. As for the arms, you basically get the same amount of movement. Now to start off with accessories, Gambit comes with a standard Mafex flight stand to hold your figure. However, Gambit also comes with an extra stand that we'll get into in a bit. Now for Gambit himself, we get the neutral face he comes packaged with, as well as a second more angry head sculpt. For hands, we start with the fists he comes packaged with, some gripping hands to hold his bow staff, a special pair of hands meant to hold some of his cards, a set of relaxed hands, a pair of flat open hands, and lastly the same open hands that come with pegs attached. And those pegs are meant to hold these two effect pieces. First we have a much bigger, heavier effect piece, and they both have holes in the end of it where you can connect it to the pegs on the hand. Now the only problem is that both effect pieces are actually too heavy for the hand and arm to actually hold up. So that's where this stand comes in handy. It helps in holding up both the effect pieces since they weigh down Gambit's arms. Next up we have a single card effect, which looks like it's being waved or almost about to be thrown. This effect piece will go into one of those card holding hands we showed off earlier, and it fits right between the fingers. We also get this fired up cards effect, and this one goes onto the other hand, and it definitely looks sick in a casual pose like this. These are our last two effect pieces, which actually go onto our next item, Gambit's iconic bow staff. All you gotta do is place the effects on either end of the staff that you wish, and voila! And last but not least, we can't forget the majestic coat that Gambit wears. It has wires in it so that you can pose it however you want in both the collar and around the ends of the coat. So you can pose it to make it look like it's flowing in the wind and all that, or as if he's jumping down on you from above. Alright, to start off the size comparison, here we have Gambit with the 3-pack Marvel Legends Venom and the Mafex symbiote Spider-Man. Now, obviously both Mafex figures scale pretty well together, but I think the Marvel Legends Venom is really good as well, especially since Venom should be bigger than most characters. Here he is with the Mezco Wolverine and SH Figure Arts Deadpool. Mezco figures tend to be quite bigger than others, so this Wolverine is probably bigger than most people would want, but I think both this Wolverine and Deadpool can work pretty well with this Gambit. And lastly, in case you collect amazing Yamaguchi figures, here's Todoroki, the only amazing Yamaguchi figure I currently own. And hopefully soon I can get some Marvel ones of my own. Overall, in my opinion, this Mafex Gambit figure is amazing. I think it definitely lives up to all the hype and the praise it gets. Now, I don't own any other Gambit figures from any other lines, but honestly, I don't think I need to anymore. I honestly think this is the only Gambit figure that you'll ever need. The articulation is great, and I think it allows you to reach any pose Gambit would be able to hit. The wires in the coat are a huge plus, and just makes any pose you put him in so much more dynamic. The accessories you get are the perfect amount. Although I think a grinning head sculpt would have been cool to show his ladies man side, I think everything he comes with is great. The effect pieces look very cool, but it would be nice if they could find some way in the future to make pieces like this lighter for other figures. This is one of my first Mafex figures, and it's definitely made me a fan of the company. When it comes to more of a comic book-like aesthetic, I think they're absolutely killing it. And this Gambit is a perfect example of that. They 100% nailed this and did a great job on his entire sculpt. This is definitely a must-have for any Gambit fan to have in their collection. Anyways, that brings us to the end of the video. If you found this review helpful, consider leaving a like to help out the channel, and subscribe for future reviews on more figures. See you guys later, and have a great time collecting.